Hi everyone, this is Stan. I haven't been uploading to that channel for quite a while already. But as right now there is more and more international news related to Taiwan and all the issues that are Taiwan focused, for example like semiconductor industry and so on and so forth, I think that there is something that I can share my perspective on. Like recently there has been that huge piece of news in Taiwan about Trump giving an interview to Bloomberg saying that Taiwan has to pay basically for the US protection and that Taiwan has stolen the United States 100% semiconductor chip industry. Alrighty, so today I wanted to discuss with you what is the conservative or like Trump administration strategy and the vision of what the US strategy is gonna be towards Taiwan. Basically, first things first, I think demanding Taiwan to pay for protection is absolutely reasonable. Because right now, if you look at Taiwan's defense and Taiwan's defense spending, 2.5% and that's it. And at the relationships between Taiwan and China, at many businesses that are actually still cooperating with China, I think it's reasonable for the United States to demand Taiwan to pay more for the US protection. And it is also good for Taiwan. Let me explain you why. You know, right now the US is taking the strategic ambiguity position towards Taiwan. They don't recognize officially Taiwan's independence, but they also think that Taiwan's future should be decided by the Taiwanese people. So like Taiwan Relations Act, all of those things, they're based on strategic ambiguity. So if Trump or Trump's administration demands Taiwan to pay for protection and formalize the relationship, formalize the purchases of weaponry, of Patriots, of F-35s, for example, then it's going to be good. Secondly, it will be a huge slap in the face, on China's face, to the Communist Party of China. And it is good for Taiwan because Taiwan will get access to more and more modern weaponry and modern equipment. It might also provide guarantees that if anything bad happens to Taiwan, the US will come to help. Because protecting Taiwan is in the US's core interest. Look, there is like the first island chain. If the US loses Taiwan, if the democratic world loses Taiwan, China can send its submarines to Hawaii because the sea off of Taiwan's east coast is like very deep and those submarines, they cannot be located and cannot be seen from space, for example. So strategically speaking and trade-wise, Taiwan is a very important partner for the United States. But internally, Taiwan has a lot of problems. And a lot of China-friendly businessmen, and a lot of China-friendly politicians. And there have been issues of Taiwanese politicians of Kuomintang Party selling out the US military secrets. So, therefore, of course, there is some doubt within the US administration, and especially within the US conservative administration. Because if we want to talk about Trump, Trump's policies sometimes are based on his personal experiences. And during his first term, there was that huge Taiwanese businessman, Terry Gou, the head of Foxconn. Your iPhone is probably made on one of his factories, which is very China-friendly, extremely China-friendly, and also a member of the Kuomintang Party. Used to be a member, then he left, then he joined again. I don't know about his status right now. But he is that pro-China circle. He promised Trump to invest 10 billion with a B, United States dollars, into Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a swing state. Of course, Trump was happy about that. Yeah, that might gain some conservative votes by actually bringing some money from Taiwan. They even had a ceremony together. You can see like Trump is here, Terry Gou is here. Terry Gou actually wanted to run for Taiwan's president on a very China-friendly platform. What happened then? Well, the investment project was cancelled. That's it. He promised, he came, and he didn't give. He didn't deliver. And there are many cases like that with Taiwanese businessmen, with Taiwanese pro-China businessmen, are actually cheating. That's why the politicians on that spectrum in the United States, conservatives, have some trust issues with Taiwan. Because we want to protect you, and what do? You do business with China. Because there are some Taiwanese companies, there has been an article on Bloomberg about that. Taiwanese companies are selling equipment that is being used on the nuclear facilities to Russia through China, therefore avoiding the US sanctions. There is also another article related to semiconductors in China, that Huawei's facilities are mostly built by the Taiwanese businesses. There is like the list of 5 companies that was also on Bloomberg. There have been many scandals recently in Taiwan. For example, there are some MPs who have been selling out the military secrets. For example, Taiwan is producing its own submarines, and then there is a leak. And right now, that person who leaked out the information, there is evidence, there is everything, she got re-elected. And this woman, her name is Ma Wen-jun, she is still in the defense and diplomatic committee within the Taiwanese legislature. So demanding Taiwan to pay is good, both for the United States because it formalizes the relationships, and to Taiwan too, because Taiwan knows what Taiwan gets, right? So it's much better than strategic ambiguity, and I like it. If it's formalized, you know what you're paying for, you know what the demands are, you know how high should your percentage of the GDP, should your military budget be, because right now 2.5%, like in Poland it's more than 4% already. And I think that Poland is less threatened than Taiwan. So that's a good thing. And if you hear some negative news in Taiwan, probably that's like the first reaction. But if you give it a second thought, I think it's pretty smart. That actually is the step I was hoping the United States would take. Secondly, Trump saying that Taiwan has taken 100% of the United States chip business. This is wrong. Because for such a low price and with such high quality, only Taiwanese companies are capable of producing those chips. And Taiwan doesn't have such protectionist policies like China. What I wanted to say is Taiwan building its semiconductor manufacturing sector was largely because that's what the United States wanted Taiwan to do. Listen to me here. Because at that time, Japanese semiconductor sector was very successful. And the United States was afraid of competition. And they wanted someone who would not actually make the semiconductor industry its own know-how, like what Japan wanted to do. They wanted to do it the state pride, but someone who would listen to what the United States needs to, who would produce according to the United States requirements, demands, and that was a company like TSMC. So Taiwanese semiconductor sector was built by the Taiwanese people and the United States together. So it is not that Taiwan has stolen anything from the United States. It was a mutual project to begin with. Still, I think this thing should be communicated with Trump. And secondly, I think for those semiconductor companies, they have very good relationships with the Democrats. That's pretty obvious. I think if they want the conservative spectrum of the United States politics to change their mind, they should deepen the cooperation. Like, look what Elon Musk did after the shooting. He said he will pay $45 million monthly to Trump's campaign. Well, Taiwanese businesses are investing here and there. I think for TSMC it would be good to expand their production and their manufacturing in the United States. Secondly, which is more important, is to commit to stop producing in China, to stop providing chips to China, and to stop making your chips being available in Russia. If you see the United States as your key partner, then you have to commit to those things. And still, to those people who think that Trump's administration will be bad to Taiwan, look at the first term. Look at the people within Trump's administration, people like Mike Pompeo. Look at J.D. Vance, what he has been saying about Taiwan, that China is the existential threat to the United States, right? And secondly, that the US has to commit to help Taiwan. This is also very important. During Trump's first term, there were many visits of the US administration to Taiwan, of course. The self-imposed restrictions were lifted. The US Secretary of State said that Taiwan has never been a part of China, which is also very important. That's what Mike Pompeo said. Kelly Craft had very good relationships with Taiwan. Many people within Trump's first administration were very pro-Taiwan and were very supportive of Taiwan, and they understood how dangerous is China. And there is another thing, because just a couple of days ago, Trump said that if China invades Taiwan, if China dares to invade Taiwan, he will bomb Beijing. So I think that's pretty strong for Taiwan commitment, right? With the Democrats, the problem is they might be friendly towards Taiwan, but they do not fully understand how dangerous is China and how dangerous is China's expansionism. They're still naive. They still think that they can cooperate and compete at the same time. They still think that on issues like climate change or human rights or energy security or something like green policies, that there is some room for a dialogue with China. But this is wrong. You don't negotiate with a bully. And here is the problem that the conservatives have, but regarding Russia, you cannot negotiate with Putin. The only way to maintain the US's position in this world is to be hard on both China and Russia, because Russia is basically a colony of China right now. And if Ukraine got more support, Ukraine had won this war already, then we wouldn't have had the Russia problem. Because look, during the Prigozhin's mutiny in 2023, nobody in Russia protested it. Nobody in Russia wanted to stand for Putin and protect Putin. Nobody wanted to do that. People there, they didn't care. Russia is a country of middle-aged women. Those people who can contribute to the economy, they are either dead or they're abroad. So for the United States, if you want to have good relationships with the European Union, of course you can demand the EU to spend more in defense. Absolutely, I agree with that. But you also should be hard on Russia, hard on China, hard on Iran, and you should demand your partners to be as hard. Why? Because right now we live in the world which is divided, and the division is, there is the democratic spectrum of it, and there is the dictatorial, totalitarian spectrum of that. So you have to make a choice. You either compete and cooperate, and at the same time they cheat on you, they steal from you, they steal your intellectual property, and they expand, and you cannot do anything about that. Or you let them know that, I know what you want to do. I know that you're gonna expand, and I'm not gonna let you do that. I'm gonna stand by my partners. I'm gonna stand by my allies. And this kind of strong America is what we're all waiting for. Well, at least what I'm waiting for. Thank you for watching. And remember that freedom is not free.